Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inventory. I'm your host, Detective Johan. With me today, I have my co-host as usual, SPNatI. Why don't you say hello?
Hello, and our two guests are playing rock, paper, scissors, although only one seems to have participated.
And speaking of our two guests, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is.
No rock emoji.
Hi, my name is Dorian.
I'm Opal Kobold. I've been here, 3 times now?
How the fuck are there scissors and no rock? I guess there's no paper either, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sure you could find something to substitute for rock.
It's just a mountain.
All right,
Just a big rock.
Dorian, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Dorian. I did the
Is it really Dorian?
as far as you're aware. I did the dialogue for Navi, I did all of Eni, and I'm doing all of Seren, who's currently on testing.
Okay, so it's Seren.
Yeah,
That was like
Seren.
Serene or something.
Nah,
I'm just
that
gonna remember like syringe.
sure. I mean, y'all trusted Johan to for your pronunciation, so you get what you get.
No, that's perfect. I'll just have my characters. If you're on a table with Seren and Beatrix, it'd be like, all right, you're Seren and you're syringe.
It's beautiful.
All right. And our other guest is...
Opal Kobold. This is like the 3rd time I'm being on. I did everything solo for Nehru, who hasn't had an update in forever, and I realized why. And
you
also
put in the
did...
Song of Storms for Maya, which I still need to respond to.
True, yeah, that might be interesting. And for the current Fire Emblem cleric on testing, whose name I will get wrong if I try to pronounce it, I did the quantity while Cog did the quality.
What does that mean?
I think he did the posing.
I did 100% of the art and almost every generic.
That art is fucking good.
Thank you. I was super proud of the model at the time, and now
at the time, what changed? It still looks great.
Blurry.
That model has like shading and shit. All my models are just have flat colors.
Yeah, I did put a lot of work into it, so I'm glad it's well received.
You can
And she's
create some
already
amazing stuff when you're not busy making furries.
You know about that. Anyway, I should mention before I get too sidetracked that LaRachel was put up for freaking sponsorship already, so that's cool.
I thought it was La Rochelle.
God dang it! I tried to pronounce it, didn't I?
La Rochelle.
I told you I'd get it wrong, and you still mock me for getting it wrong.
It's like she's your character. How can you get her name
I know.
wrong?
Once you put a comma in a character's name, you can no longer fault people for getting it wrong.
That's an apostrophe, Johan.
Damn it. So
just say the name Rachel, but your hips are trash, so it's La Rochelle.
Right here. There haven't been a lot of changes to the game since last time. We have...
All right, that's it. Good night.
Yeah, like not a lot has happened since last time. We have Sakura Sakura got added to the main game. Dorian, why don't you start off your thoughts on her?
Yeah, so I think she's a really cute, really great addition to the game. She's very helpful and encouraging to all the other players and the shy characters. She's like super expressive. I love her reactions to everything. That pose where she like doesn't have pupils anymore is super freaky, but it's also really cute. She has like a few gimmicks, like her bra just flying off and the whole being a fucking zombie thing. But I think it's handled well, and I don't know, she's just really cute, and I really like that she's been added on.
All right. Oh, Paul, what about you?
I remember the bit where we had homework, and I forgot to do the homework.
You haven't played against her
I'm
at
not
all?
gonna lie, I haven't played SPNatI in a while.
Oh.
Literally yesterday at 6:53 p.m.,
I
Should I
know.
give anyone on the roster a quick play in preparation for the podcast?
I
Me,
know.
654. Sakura made it into the main game. Beyond that, it's up to you, I suppose.
I
Oh, but you
know.
had one character to play.
I know.
Well,
I can start
what do you think
playing a
about what
game
she
right
looks
now
like?
if that helps.
Yeah, live. Let's do a let's play. Let's play SPNatI. Sakura edition.
All right, screw it. Who else is on the table?
Maya.
So,
Actually, she has some pretty good lines to Revi, which I have written responses to, but I have not merged it yet.
so while Opal dips his toes, Banana, why don't you give your thoughts on Sakura?
I agree with Dorian. Sakura is cute, even though she's dead. She's a lot of fun to be on, and I'm having a lot of fun interacting with her, and I'm even trying to like coordinate some like interactive poses with her, with like my characters, whatever.
Oh,
We'll see if that
really?
happens.
Which characters?
You'll see, but or maybe you won't. I don't know if if Napsy wants to do it, but we'll see. Yeah, it is the kind of thing where even though she technically doesn't have like a must target gimmick on every stage, her existence as a gimmick.
Laughs in Hanako.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like, yeah, like that, where just her appearance sort of makes your generic lines a little weird because why would they say something generic when they're next to a fucking zombie?
Laps in Navi.
Yeah, it's sort of like that, or like 9S once they learn he's a robot, or something like that, where yeah, you kind of have to target her a lot, but she's definitely a lot of fun to respond to. So that's not, and her author is really active, so it doesn't feel like you're doing it for nothing. So you know, I really I enjoy her overall. I can see myself using her in the future. Generally, I don't know if I think I've said before that I don't really go for like the kind of like really upbeat and positive types, but Sakura has enough going on and has like enough of an edge with her head falling off and everything where she definitely keeps your attention. So, yeah, she's good stuff. And I had no idea that her source was so recent. I think I said this before, but I did not know that this was a show that came out last year.
Yeah, I think it's the most recent character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a few characters who literally could not be in the game when the game was first made because they have come out since that point.
I agree with what you said, like, in regards to Sakura. She's really cute, really fun, really high energy. Yuri made a great model. Napsu did a great job posing. I can tell that Napsu had a lot of fun with these poses because there's stuff you can do, i.e. the head falling off, with a zombie type character that you couldn't do with another character. And so it's
Her
something.
epilogue's good too.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is.
Although, is it only for men? I can't remember.
I believe so because I remember I read the anonymous feedback poll, and I remember Yuri made no attempt to hide what feedback was her in that regard by saying, "I gave you this model and you give me no epilogue. How could you NTR me like this?" or something.
Napsu was also giving herself no epilogue, so I don't know.
Truly the most selfless of creators.
Why does she make characters that she herself does not want to fuck?
I don't know.
I think that happened with Kazuna as well. Like, she's completely straight, and then she just makes girls anyway. What is Napsu's end game here?
Probably the same as what Cog's endgame was with Pet. Or
Are you telling me Cog doesn't jack off to Pit? Because I will never not believe that.
Halo with Dante?
I would never believe that.
And I don't think Bagel's attracted to Kami now.
If you're just, I don't know. Anyone who's going to loving, well, hell, okay. I'm not gonna say like everyone that's like drawn a hot guy is gay, because you know you gotta appreciate the human body in general. If you're an artist, you know, you can't just like only draw like hot girls. You gotta like know anatomy more than that. But like, if you're putting in 6,000 lines into a dude and he's jacking off for at least a sixth of them. Come on, like we all know what's going on there.
Anyway, I have my initial feedback. I like her model, her posing, what dialogue I saw was good, and then SPNatI decided didn't want to keep playing the game anymore, so I'm kind of frozen right now.
All right, who are you playing her with?
It's Revi, Maya, and Streaming Chan.
Still haven't merged those Revi responses. We'll get there, probably in a few days or so.
So yeah, I think that she's a lot of fun. She's got some stuff going on for her that no other character has. And
Such as, well, okay, she's not the only dead character.
she's the only character that uses that in a way. Like Spooky's dead, but in a different way. Like
Spooky doesn't really utilize being dead all that much. You think she'd like
yeah.
stab herself with her knife to be like more dramatic or something, but
So
Chiaki and Mahiro and Misato, they all just will be dead.
I mean, wait, Dorian, how far are you in Danganronpa 2?
I just started the 3rd case today.
Oops.
Well, you didn't know that?
No, I knew it because I've been on the server long enough to know a lot of Danganronpa spoilers. I knew what I was getting into.
All right. Well,
Chiaki keeps getting flatter, so she's slowly getting more dead.
There's a little bit wrong with what you've said, but I'm not going to elaborate on that. Instead, I'm going to move to talking about our upcoming projects.
Because
Yeah, we're already to that point. Yep. Can you believe it? It's going to be a short-ass podcast.
Well,
there
Chihiro
were no other
and,
characters added. Nope, not at all.
You got to make new characters, people.
No
Chihiro
characters
and
were added.
Saki are they have their sponsorship stuff set up, so they'll be ready once the authors finish that stuff, and I can think of it.
Sayla died.
Oh yeah, F. And I can think of at least 2 characters that are close to hitting testing.
Who?
Caulifla is one of them, or Caulifla.
Yeah.
Yeah, from
Dragon Ball Super.
And I'll leave the other one a surprise until the author is okay with me revealing it.
Is it Hayato?
It is not.
All right.
So, upcoming projects. Dorian, why don't you start us off?
Well, currently, I'm going to be mostly focusing my efforts on Serin, updating her, targeting. I have a slightly updated model that I'm going to be using, like updated proportions and a few other miscellaneous fixes. Beta has shown interest in doing a Navi art rework that's going to utilize the pose engine. So I'm going to probably be doing that. And I'd also like to get a Eni dialogue update and maybe a dual epilogue with Mia in, and also maybe an art update with her. At some point, I'd like to get also a new solo project going, but I haven't exactly decided what character I want to pick to do that with.
Sucks when you just make like a little change to a model, but it's something that will affect every single pose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like changing Serin's proportions. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
I remember early on, I made Maya's skin a little paler, but I still needed to change every single image for that and her epilogue. So yeah, I feel you on that one. She looks good already, but
thanks. So yeah, that's gonna be me for these next couple of weeks until I eventually find a new character to like pour all my efforts into.
All right. Opal, what about you?
Well, originally I had intended to put a bigger Nehru update because all the feedback I'm getting is she's more or less fine right now, just needs to not be in her own little world. She needs to target people. And I'm glad I figured out why I absolutely hate targeting with her, because I need at least 3 lines for every single, essentially, line I want to make for her. because I can't just target with her. I have to target with her. I have to target her when she's not possessed. I have to target with her when she is. It's just a headache all around. Triples the work, and that's all my fault, to be honest. So I kind of put that off. Just did the one thing for Maya, and instead switched work over
Thank you.
all the way to the primary reason I think that all the jokes are being made to anyone who's paying attention. All the jokes are being made to me being a furry is because Leggy Lamb is at like 400 lines and all
It's
her
not a
posing is
joke.
done.
Awkward silence.
It's not a
She's
joke.
there. She just needs targeted lines at the moment. I don't know how long that'll take, so probably sometime in the next decade.
This man is a furry.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, and after that I might do another one, but that's still up in the air.
All right. SPNatI, what about you?
Well, just recently, I believe I said I was working on redoing Revi's epilogue, and I now have. So I don't know if anyone took a look at that. Ouch.
I mean,
I
to
already
be fair,
told
you
you.
did overshadow yourself.
What?
You did overshadow yourself with the epilogue by putting it out right before the feedback poll.
I mean, I did see that you
That's an easy way to
posted
comment
the
on it.
comment about it, but
Wait, what?
he posted a comment in the discussion pool, and I saw that, but I didn't think to check it out at the time.
I get it. It's harder to immediately check out an epilogue. You have to grind with Felicia, or download it and put it offline, and then activate it offline and just cheat. But yeah, so I did that. Used the new epilogue engine. It's not really that new anymore, but saved a bunch of file space, so now I can start adding new poses to Revi, which is always good. So she's under the 11 megabyte limit now. A couple people ask for like new epilogues for like Ryuko or new poses, and that's not fucking happening because she's over the 11 megabyte limit and she's just grandfathered in. I intentionally made her epilogue right before that took action, or took effect, so that she would be grandfathered in. So don't expect anything new for Ryuko. But yeah. So I changed a lot of stuff in Revi's epilogue in terms of like what happens when, and like adding some new scenes, and it did involve like removing some stuff. So if you liked it exactly the way it was, you might be a little disappointed. But I think overall it's more in character. There's definitely more sex scenes overall, and I think it's just paced a lot better in general. It kind of like peaked way too early in the old version, and there was just like a bunch of talking at the end. So I think this one kind of ends more appropriately. I will say I removed Radical Revi-chan
F.
because it really didn't make any sense why she would have that. It's just from an omake. Is that how you say it?
I believe so.
So that's one of the great things about Sakura with Revi, which is that Sakura thinks that Revi is Radical Revi-chan. And I basically have to incorporate that. So now she, canon has been Radical Revi-chan at one point. But, yeah, so go check that out. Other than that, I am replying to some incoming targeted lines with Revi, and I'll greet some new characters with Revi. And then before I move on to Jura or Ryuko, I think I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet and update Maya's and Jura's models. So no sense waiting forever. Just going to get that over with. So I'm going to be asking for a lot of help because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Are you going to try and do it yourself or get other people to help with it?
I've already partially done it myself, and hair is a real bitch, and also the most important thing. So
Yeah.
it's really the only thing I have to change, I think. Hair, and maybe move Jura's face around so she doesn't have such a big forehead.
And also maybe try and recreate the Maya's eyepiece in Kisake.
Yeah, of course. Listen, I didn't know what a belt was, okay? Or literally anything.
It's okay.
I just cut
I
it out
didn't
of
either.
Photoshop. I didn't fucking know. I didn't know. And nobody told me.
All right.
But yeah,
So
that's up for me.
next is me. I'm gonna work on the Kamina epilogue. While I wait for Halo to finish up Dante, or to give me Dante's posing. He's finished up the model. And
Kamina's epilogue in progress.
it is storyboarded. I'm waiting for Bagel to get me the art assets for Kamina's end.
I have an
And
idea for it.
I've already storyboarded it.
I have an idea for it.
Does it involve Yoko?
He introduces you to Yoko, and then he leaves, and then you fuck.
I feel like people would have issues with that for a Kamina epilogue.
If he has to be included, then she can like jerk him off as you fuck her.
And alongside that, I'll be working on Janetta.
Janetta from?
From SPNatI. She was in the game before. She's the bunny girl with the green hair. Real cute. Working on her with Thor.
Oh, cool. I like her eyes.
Yeah. So that's my schedule for the foreseeable future, as well as probably tweaking some stuff on the characters I have in game with what I've got from the feedback poll. All right. Let's start with the questions then. Let's start with the questions dedicated to one person. First one is from me. Amaterasu when? Amaterasu is kind of a low priority character for me right now, with Dante and Janetta being the top priority, and then Aegis. What are my other projects?
I really
actually?
do think you need to keep explaining who Aegis is.
Sword and Shield trainer. How many people do you think this is the first episode for?
You really should keep focusing on that.
All right, let's see here.
You wonder why it's only people on the Discord that comment on this sort of thing. We gotta branch out. We gotta keep in mind the new
So
viewers.
Aegis is a mid priority, alongside Sandy, and then Amaterasu is like below that. So she'll get here. Don't worry, she will happen. Just not anytime soon.
Are you gonna Dynamax her?
Amaterasu?
No, Shield
Oh.
Champ.
Oh no, no,
Appeal to the giantess fetish.
nope, not me.
No,
Nah.
that ain't it, Chief.
We have issues making Kamina tall enough with his pointing. I don't know if I'd be able to pull it off with Aegis.
It's gonna be just her foot.
All right. Question for Dorian. How does it feel to have made the best girl? Now, I have a feeling I know who asked this as well.
Who are they referring to?
I think that it's Yuri submitted this question, and I think she's talking about
Oh.
me.
Well, damn, there goes my whole speech about Navi. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not used to compliments. Thanks, whoever.
You look very pretty today.
Oh, thank you. You know, I recently did something. I think it brings out my eyes. You know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't usually know that people refer to Eni as being best girl, I know that at least 2 other people on this podcast have their own best girls, some more obvious than others. Isn't that right, Johan?
Mm-hmm.
Johan, I edited in a picture of Eni dabbing.
Okay.
A modern masterpiece. Yeah, I don't, this isn't really a question, but more just thanks for saying that. That's really nice of you.
All right. Also for Dorian is, how do you pitch such excellent but obscure characters when you need more creators like you?
I think it mostly has to do with the fact that I haven't consumed a lot of media throughout my life. So, like, my choices for like characters that I know and like is slim pickings compared to a lot of other people, especially on the Discord. So then I just pick characters that I like and I make them into a passion project. Um, that's basically how it happens. There's not much to it.
It's a strange question because you'd think most people would say, I want to see popular characters, or I want to see creators make popular characters, not obscure characters, you know?
Well,
I
yeah,
mean-
but I mean, I think this question was asked by like I don't know, NMASP or someone who appreciates that
Probably.
type of stuff.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'd like looking at our top 10 characters. We've got, how many of them are actually obscure? Like Amalia and Jura, yes. Revi, debatable.
Amalia, really?
How many people do you think know about Wakfu?
I learned about it from Zone.
Yeah, okay. So, like, I think that, like, the most well-known character in the top 10, like, Ochiko or Pit, and then, like, they're, like, well-known enough by, like, people who aren't into game and anime and stuff. And then, like, Natsuki, Ryuko, and Misato are, like, if you're into that stuff, then you will know of them. And then, like,
I think everybody knows them.
do you think everybody knows Natsuki? I
Do you
think
think
that, like,
everybody knows Ochiko?
I think that My Hero Academia is big enough that you could say that. I don't know, like.
I had never heard of her before this game.
Alright, well, then
I don't
I'm
care about
foolish.
My Hero Academia.
Okay, so I feel like Pit and Ochiko in like the most known of the top 10. Riko, Natsuki, and Misato below them. Revi.
I think Ryuko's more well known than Ochiko. That's just me.
But like, you could tell
I knew
that.
Ryuko. I didn't know Ochiko.
So my point is that people who are people will put more effort and love and care into characters they care about, even if they're obscure.
Commenters, please ask or please answer. Who do you think's more popular, Ryuko or Ochiko, or Natsuki? Revi's kind of weird. Revi has like some star power, but most people don't know Revi. But if you're like really into anime, then you probably know Revi.
Like I could probably
I
recognize
see-
her off design, but not like I might not know her source, but I could probably point at Revi before joining SPNatI and say, "Yeah, I recognize her."
Mhm.
I don't.
I'd never
but
heard of
that's
her,
just- I've
but-
never heard of Black Lagoon.
Yeah, but I see threads for her on like 4chan's anime board. So like if you're into anime, then you probably heard of Black Lagoon. But Ladybug or Marinette, I guess. I don't know if there's a whole lot of overlap there because it's like mostly a kids show. I know there's perverts that watch it because she has ass shots and is in a bodysuit, which I'm all for.
It is made in France.
Well, yeah. The same way that Japan makes animation for perverts, France does that in the West. You can see that with Amalia as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kazuna, I guess Kazuna is also popular among internet perverts. Maya is of course very obscure, and she would be in the top 10 if not for bullshit rules. So, have to include her. Have to include her.
All right. Question for
That's made, never a
Opal.
problem.
Oh, hold on. Like, I know we got into this discussion, and the reason I said that I think most people would probably say we want more popular characters is because, like, I see that on people complain about that on 4chan. And there's like other people saying, why are all the characters, or why are there so many characters weeb shit? To which I gave an explanation, but you know, Kisake is just more suited for Japanese characters, obviously, because it's a Japanese program. I don't know what drew Joseph Cantel to Kisake, because he made 4 Western characters to start off SPNatI. So I don't know how he knew about it or why he chose it.
All right.
We need to get him on this podcast.
I
You
feel
got
like
official.
that opportunity has came and gone. All right. Opal, why didn't you make a furry for your first character?
See, I think I had actually considered it, but I wasn't openly furry at that point on the server. And second of all,
He hadn't yet come out.
I was abysmally bad at Kiske, as my original models will attest to, which I could actually post. But yeah, I figured I'd start with a simple model, and considering how the first version of Nehru's model went, I'm very glad I started simple.
Hey man, it's okay to start off and not be the greatest. I don't think anyone was. Except Bagel. Bagel's first model in the game was in, and Halo. Bagel and Halo were the only people who showed up seemingly out of nowhere and just were instantly amazing at stuff.
She was not great, so I'm glad I have a second version of Nehru's model. But yeah, I was not too long before. What was even I think the progression was in like December, late December. Uzu decided that he wanted to help make Leggy, and from there I just started making a crap ton of furry models.
That was the gateway drug.
Yeah, the sheep started it all.
Honestly, that Nehru model isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, I can tell it's supposed to be her. It uses hair pieces. That's better than I did. First try. Got to give yourself more credit, man.
It's
Just-
definitely
just
better
in-
than Link one.
You still have the one where you just slapped a bunch of fucking belts on her? That was hilarious.
I think I do. I'd have to look for that for a minute, and I think the next question is to me too. So
Yeah, it
well,
is.
I have to
It's,
answer that
we
one already.
we just told you to use belts. So
the question is, the next question for you is, when will Nehru be updated?
are you?
That is an excellent question. But how can I put it? It's part of me not feeling too confident with my targeting, because even now with Leggy, where it's super simple, I'm still not sure what to target next, and I have to limit myself to like 10 lines a day so I don't burn myself out on accident. I just feel like with her, those 10 lines would pass 3 times as fast, and I would not hardly make any progress, because it would take me 5 days to target one girl, and there's 100 girls on the roster, and I would be intimidated.
All right.
SPNatI's big, meaty, throbbing roster.
That is all of the individual questions we have out of the way. Next is questions for everybody. The game mods have extra duties and sometimes neglect their own work. Choose one and tell me about one character created that you wish they paid more attention to.
Alright, so my pick for which character I wish they paid more attention to is I'm gonna go with Sayori by Faraway Vision. I don't know, she's really cute. She's my personal favorite of the Dokis. I've never played the game, but like in the game, she's my favorite. And I also just feel that like, as soon as he does come back, Viz, please come back. We miss you. Just when he does come back, I think Monica is probably going to be the first one to get the updates, and then maybe Sayori, assuming this is after he finishes HK and Chihiro. It feels like it's so far away to just getting updates and getting, targeted lines back. And I don't know, she's really cute, and her dual masturbation thing with Monica is interesting and fun. And I just want more lines for her. That's all I really want.
All right.
Oh boy.
Opal, what about you?
I kind of want to say Ladybug. When was the last time she got an update? Because I'm gonna feel like an idiot if it was like a week ago.
She has an
But
update coming.
I just know she has I think she has an art update that's somewhat pending, so I'm excited for that.
All right. Want to elaborate on why?
I like the character. She's a really good character. Unless that's not what you mean by why.
No, I mean that is just a valid reason as anything else.
And Mappy really seems to like my girls, so maybe I'm being pandered to a little bit. I don't know.
All right. SPNatI, what about you?
I know Say from Valhalla gets updates all the time, and Namas should update her more because she's the best one. Plus, she's a Ray clone. Kinda endears me to her, especially with how she targets Maya. I think in general, Arndress is pretty slow with updating all of his characters, so Nagisa and Nugi-chan and all of them. And I like pretty much everything they have to offer. It's just that they just don't get updates that much. And
I'd say that Arndress updates his characters. He just does it in very small amounts.
Yeah, it's just I just want more, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always fun what he comes up with, but there's just very little of it. You gotta at a certain point you gotta go for that quantity. That's what gets people to notice. Not just quantity, but quantity.
That answer that you've given about Arndress is basically the same, but for Pat is my answer. Like,
Oh,
I
that's
really
true.
like Raven and Zone, but their updates are far and few between. Granted, the update we did just get for Raven was rather well made. So his stuff he makes is always top tier. It's just very infrequent. So I'd say Zone or Raven.
Good picks. Yeah. I mean, Raven did just get the epilogue, though, and it is a great epilogue, honestly.
Also, I feel like while it's Cog updates his characters enough, but I also do like seeing Mahiru updates when they happen. But that's just totally my bias because I like Mahiru a lot. All right. Next question is: are you satisfied with the level quality of feedback you get? What should helpful criticism provide for a SPNatI project? Dorian?
I think the answer will, no matter what, pretty much always be no for are you satisfied with the level/quality of feedback you get? Because no matter how much feedback you get, you can always do with more. But on a less, edge case philosophically level, also no. Just, sometimes people just withhold their opinions until like later, or they just express them in different ways. Like,
Until an anonymous feedback poll.
yeah, let's just have one of those. That's a good. You should do that, SPNatI. You should do that.
Go fill it out before it ends. Link
Event-
is on Reddit. Link is in 4chan. Link is on the Discord.
Hopefully it's still going by the time this goes up.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Anyway, I remember during the episode where you guys were talking about Eni when she first got onto the testing tables, Yuri mentioned that her bell-bottom bottoms looked blurry, and like she had never mentioned this before in any case, and I don't know if she would have, but it's just like sometimes I hear things on the podcast about my characters or other characters that I don't know if that would have been expressed otherwise. The very nature of how we sponsor now says that we don't get the level of feedback that we need because people have a list of complaints or things that need to be addressed. Since we have that, that means that they weren't, and that either means that they were told and ignored, or that they were never spoken at all until exactly when we needed them the most.
Well, it might be just a matter of it didn't really bother them that much, but now that they have to list a complaint, they're going to put that out there.
Well, why not list it before? I mean, I guess it's because
So we don't have infinite time and
they
effort
have
to
to.
criticizing stuff. You know, I can tell you, I used to like more thoroughly test characters, but now I have shit to do.
Well, yeah, but everyone gives it usually like a character one try. It wouldn't hurt if they just like wrote up a quick little 2 sentences. Yeah, your character's great, but fix X or fix Y. Some real.
I've noticed Solitaire does that whenever he plays a character. He'll like
Mm-hmm.
write up a little summary of his thoughts in the channel on the dev server.
See, I don't do that because I know that I'm just going to say it on the podcast.
Same.
But other people should.
So did you have more, Thorin?
I mean, that's about it. As for what should helpful criticism provide, just like it should really just be comprised of two things: what needs to be improved and what it should be replaced with. Like saying, this pose is bad or this element of the dialogue is bad and should be removed or changed. Just, also adding in, I think it should be changed to this. Like, she's too shy in this stage. Have her talk more about how confident she is. Even if it's just simple stuff like that, her leg is sticking out. Try changing it to a straight leg in this pose. Just if not this, then this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just think anything actionable, that's really all it needs to be. Something that you can change.
Yeah.
All right. Opal, what about you?
I think overall, other than, of course, more feedback is always better. Me personally, I'm plenty happy with the amount of feedback I get on various things, dialogue, poses, models, different things. But I don't know how much I can necessarily add because, like, in terms of what helpful criticism would be, and that it's not incredibly helpful for someone to just show up and be like, yeah, it's crap, and leave. But at the same time, I also kind of start thinking that the easier it is to give feedback, the more feedback you're liable to get. So while it's really low effort to say, oh, it's good or oh, it's bad, that you'll be able to find a lot of people who are willing to say one of those things, even if it's not helpful when they do.
All right. SPNatI?
I could always use more feedback, obviously, but I'm pretty happy with what I get. Other than at the very beginning when no one really criticized my models, but I think all of our standards were kind of lower back then. Like I routinely, whenever I post something like that I'm working on, like Kisake or whatever, because that's what I'm the least confident in, I'll usually get some pretty good feedback right away, and they'll tell me what to fix. And that's all it needs to be. Like I said, it just needs to be actionable. I don't think the answer for this is all that complicated. Just I think that's even better. Like, okay, like encouraging words are nice, like just kind of standard praise, but I would rather have someone like give like a little nitpick that doesn't really bother them, but still something I can fix, than just like straight encouraging praise with that I can't really do anything about. I just like the polish, so that's me.
All right. there are times where I'm often not content with the amount of feedback that I received on my characters. And when that happens, like it happened recently, I put out a questionnaire and asked people for feedback. Currently, we have the anonymous feedback poll going on, and that's providing feedback as well. So, nah, not always am I happy with the amount of feedback I get, but when I'm not and I want to like figure out how to improve, I just go out and straight up ask people for it. Helpful criticism, I think that it's my ideal form of criticism is providing me with what you think is done right with my character, so I know how to do more of it, and what as well as what has done wrong, and like was said before, how it should be changed, because that way it's not just like me feeling like I failed if it's nothing but people telling me that things have gone wrong. It's nice to have a little bit of this is what you've done right as well in there. But both of them can motivate me in different ways. All right. What is the maximum non-cheating age you would prefer on a character? 1,000-year-old vampires like Romelia don't count.
So thinking just for like a regular normal human being, I mean the obvious answer is just it changes character to character. Like there are some characters in their 30s and 40s who look terrible, and there are some characters in their 60s who look great. So I guess if I had to put a like pushing it limit on it, probably somewhere in the 50s to 60s, as long as they still like looked really good, I'd say that would be fine. Maybe there's probably some exceptions, but I guess that would be my topped out age for a human.
All right. Oh, Paul, what about you?
I think I'd probably put it around 50. I mean, I'd elaborate, but that's kind of.
That's kind of what?
I don't know. It seems kind of straightforward, like a straightforward question and answer.
All right. SPNatI, what about you?
At first, I thought this said minimum age, and I didn't really understand
Same.
because it was like, but maximum, it's definitely an underserviced niche. Is the elderly edition guy, the guy who asked this? Like, who is the oldest character on the roster? Canonically speaking, besides like Romelia. I don't know. I'm looking, and most of these people would probably be in their 20s. I guess Chun-Li is like pretty old in canon at this point, but I don't think it's really that like 50-year-old version of her. Same with Jotaro. Sonya. Again,
Sonya
like
what?
isn't that like a younger version of her? So
Yeah.
everybody wants to generally fuck people that are of reproductive age. So I don't think there's really a wide range here. Spooky's dead. Beatrix is
She's
Beatrix
70. She's
Oh
70.
yeah, Beatrix is 71. How about that?
What?
Yeah, that's what it says. 71. I don't know if is she a human?
No, I think it's like generic or something. I don't know.
Generate? Well, that could just
Yeah.
be like the name of a group of humans with cyborg stuff. I don't know.
And purple.
Well, I guess there's your answer. She's 71 years old. Looks good for her age, I guess. Although she had to get her arm replaced, and her legs, and her teeth.
It's fine.
And her eye.
That happens from time to time.
Gay spaghetti chef. His description is gay spaghetti chef. So I'm not getting a whole lot out of that. He could have been cooking spaghetti for many years. But really what it comes down to is I don't care. Like, if they're hot, they're hot. So it doesn't matter. If you're look fucking great at 100 years old. I don't know how, but all right, whatever. Let's do it. It's not real life. So masturbation material is not nearly as picky as actually having sex with. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. My answer is Dante. Dante is where I draw the line.
How old is he?
47, I think.
Yeah, about there. Or like going a little further, like part 3 Joseph Joestar. So basically, yeah, what Dorian said. The number doesn't matter. It's the character.
So when you add him in, can SPNatI get a Dante Must Die mode?
Every character strips instantly of one loss.
Wouldn't that be easy mode?
Well, you too, as well. Just like Dante Must Die mode, everything gets everything.
The whole
dies
roster
in one
just
hit.
tries to kill Dante.
Who? Oh, the whole roster. That'd be interesting. How can you make a character with a unique and memorable gimmick, but without forcing everyone to target them? Dorian?
I think there's probably 2 ways to go on this. One is to make like a subtle gimmick, like Haru changing from a sweet personality to a Dom personality, general personality switches. Do that kind of thing. You have to make sure that they're still like removing the thing that they're saying they're removing. I think if you want to make it so that it's subtle, stuff like I think Sakura's bra flying off, that works fine and is pretty memorable, but you don't need to target it. I'd say the other way is to do what Akko did and do something so over the top and so just impossible to target that no one's going to do it, but everyone will still remember it.
Oh, I'll do it. Although I don't like Akko's transformations very much, but
I've
made that
already
call.
done it. I've already targeted all of Akko's transformation. Kamina.
And how fun was that?
Well, it did help that I was writing Kamina. And he's just fun to write.
Bless your soul.
That's what you get for doing a self-insert.
That's what I get, being okay with writing a character.
Yes.
Alright. Opal, what about you?
I had to answer prepared too, and then I tried to make a joke. I think ultimately, as someone who has made a gimmick that is absolutely a must target, I think it's probably a lot like he said, if it's just like a personality switch, but at the same time, if it counts as a gimmick, maybe something more like using markers or just really specific dialogue chains to make the character like almost eerily aware of what's going on in the game, like just remembering things that no other character seems to remember. Stuff that, at least to me, I would find it interesting if they comment on it, as long as it's not shoehorned in, but that you don't really need to comment on why they remembered what you had 3 hands ago, because it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. I gotta agree with Dorian, and that a good way to make that happen is just make sure they're at least doing basically the thing that they're supposed to be doing in what would be the generic case. You can get away with something really off the wall if it's like one stage, something that's easy to target. Just don't do it on every stage. I think this is really a question of like mindset. Like don't set out to make a gimmick. Like a gimmick is like a negative word. It has a negative connotation. It's a bad thing to have a gimmick because that means that there's no substance behind it. Focus on whatever gives your character substance, and the rest, if they do anything that's like slightly off the beaten path, as long as there's a good character and a good foundation underneath it, I think people won't mind.
I've brought up before that a character is like ice cream and a gimmick is like sprinkles. If you if you remove the sprinkles, the ice cream should still be good. You shouldn't be relying completely on the sprinkles.
Yeah. A gimmick is something that consumes the whole character. You know?
There's certain stuff that, like, even if it's not a gimmick, it's just part of the character, like Navi or Hanako.
Yeah, just a part of who they are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I can't
If
think
it's
of anything.
actually compelling and has substance, then it's not a gimmick. If it's
Alright.
stupid and intrusive, then yeah, it's a gimmick.
Next question is, how can you future-proof a character so you don't need to update them as much? Dorian?
I think the answer to this is to go all out on your model because, adding dialogue is a lot easier than adding, poses or updating your model, certainly. So if you go in with, an above and beyond for the times model, I think eventually people are going to catch up to that. But I think that there will be a longer stretch that you'll be able to go without needing to update your character as much because their age won't be seen externally. It'll be more an internal age as we develop new cases and new, things for pose engine and whatever. But, externally, Amalia still looks great a year later, so
Yeah.
no one's asking, for Amalia to get an art update because her art started out great and it still looks great because it went above and beyond. And I think that's how you do.
This is a porn game, so the art can definitely carry you for a while. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. Opal, what about you?
I'd agree on the art just because, as I put it before somewhere else, the art continues to, or rather, what was it? It was the dialogue will continue as long as you stick with it, but the art only continues or only improves until you decide it's good enough. So just going all out, deciding that, hey, that thing that you might want to add seems tedious, but it'll probably be worth it down the road. Those kind of things will help the model last. But for dialogue, I would say probably do basic targeting on a lot of characters, but probably like really in-depth targeting with a handful, because those lines between them will stay pretty much unchanged for a while, and you can probably just ride those coattails. I mean, you won't have as much replayability for someone who's already familiar with those interactions, but for any new people, it might take multiple plays to see all the lines. So people probably still play Maya and Jura together.
Those are some of the oldest lines they have now. Ironically.
When are we gonna get the SPNatI update that pierces the heavens, where he just goes and makes it so they comment on everything together?
I don't do that all at once. It's just hacking away at a mountain. But yeah, I get what you mean. I definitely want to echo everything said about the art. The most you can do for like small art updates is change some posing around. But if you have a bad model, that's kind of, it's kind of like polishing a turd. But yeah, as far as dialogue is concerned, yeah, casting a wide net and targeting a lot of different characters can definitely let you go for a while, but there will always be new characters, and eventually the characters that you targeted will start to die. I remember when targeting Metaton was something you had to do, and now he's dead. And I still haven't caught up to him with some people. But there's that. People like to use filtered lines, which I really don't, because I'm just banking on the idea that I won't be hit by a bus and I can eventually target everyone.
Same.
But if you disappear, then yeah, filtered lines are definitely the way to go. So if you're planning on dying anytime soon, maybe you should focus on tags because they'll always be there.
Got it.
You know, SPNatI, you and I might disagree on a couple of stuff here and there. But
Such as?
The like pubes, how we go about our like Dragon Ball movie rankings.
This asshole didn't put Dead Zone and The World's Strongest at the very top. Pretty much objectively the best movies.
So, well, we might disagree from time to time. I think that I can absolutely stand with you on not liking targeted lines. Or fucking tagged lines.
They're still generic enough where it's hard to say anything specific. So they're kind of boring. I wrote some more for Ryuko because people asked, but I don't really enjoy it.
I'd say that if you feel like a character that your character needs to target is about to come out, find out the offer of that person and work with them.
Kidnap them.
Like, Emmy getting dropped basically forced me to update Hanako. I could have probably... Well, she's getting updated already, but that's what's said. But if you just think of a character that you will need to target when they enter the game, work with that author ahead of time. Absolutely make sure that your art is the best it can be. Beyond that, there will come a point where sometimes you have to update it. Like if you are as much as I dread it, if somebody ever made Yoko, that's not a thing I could just ignore and not.
Yes, you can, if you're willing to just let people hate Kamina or Kamina. But
well, he's probably my best character. So,
well, he's a man. He can't be your best character.
If somebody dropped, this is just an example. If somebody had dropped Yoko, I'd have to update Kamina. You can try your best to avoid updating your characters, but there will come a day where either a character that they should have lines to has entered the game, or their art just doesn't hold up anymore.
Dude, the ultimate troll move. Make Yoko, and then make a Yoko epilogue, and she introduces you to Kamina, and then she leaves, and then you fuck him.
Reverse card.
Yeah. It can just be sometimes hard to just figure out what characters like are being created that you're eventually going to be needing to target, because like a lot of people
Created is in air quotes here.
Yeah, like because
In development.
Yeah, you'll get like someone who comes on and says, "Hey, I want to make this character from this game," and sometimes that's like, "Oh, cool, my character would know them," but those are flaky sometimes, and sometimes they just disappear after 2 to 3 weeks and we never hear from them again. But other times someone joins, says, "Hey, I'm doing this character," and I'm like, "Oh, my character should target them. Your model still needs some work, but we'll get you there." And then 2 weeks later, Francisca is on the tables and I still have Eni to update, and that was a fun week for me. But I don't know, it's just you gotta pick your battles on that one.
I think perhaps the best use of filtered lines for future proofing is to use them to target the player extensively, because the player will always be there, and a lot of people ask for that.
Got to target them eye colors. Why play pretty purple eyes you have? Come on. They write themselves.
I'd say more focus on the sexual aspects of the game. The player is the one that's definitely jacking off, so stuff like sizes and them masturbating. Just having a bunch of generic lines for that can really go far in making them seem less repetitive. A lot of people, I think, underestimate how many lines they need for that. It's a lot because it happens every game to almost everyone except the winner. And there's a lot of turns where it happens, and if they only have like 3 lines, then oh boy, are they going to start to disappear quickly because they just say the same thing over and over.
There was once a time where I had considered making Seto Kaiba for this game, and I was just toying with the idea of having him have no dialogue forfeit, because that would be lines for if he loses and he doesn't lose.
He literally loses all the time to Yugi.
I know. I get it. That's not an idea that I'm ever going to follow through with.
Would he just masturbate to Blue Eyes White Dragon?
Probably. Next question is, what Legend of Zelda character would the cast like to see next? Also, why don't they comment more on Rinka obviously being a Gerudo?
Because Navi's targeting just kind of in general isn't all that great, and her structuring is terrible. It's like, I don't have poses for a few of the stage 0 things, so like a lot of her targeted lines don't carry over for the Gerudo thing. But anyway, which Legend of Zelda character? So as to not pick what I think Johan is gonna pick, because it's his number 11 waifu, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna go with Hilda from Link Between Worlds, because I think she could be like, the princessy type, and because we ran out of those a little while ago, but also fill kind of a bit of a villain role too, because I like when we add villains. Was also, she could probably have a few great lines with Sabrina once Napsu gets that all done. I don't know, I think she could be fun.
All right. Paul, what about you?
I think for the one I would want to see next, I'm a bit torn, because the first one I would want to see, if you count it as a Legend of Zelda character, if you count her as a Legend of Zelda character, would probably be either
Cadence?
Lana or Sia from Hyrule Warriors.
Oh, never
But they're
mind.
not really Legend of Zelda characters. So if I had to pick a different one, it would probably be the Midna that I think is already in progress, though I can see that being an obscenely difficult model to make look pretty. And
Is this
for
Imp Midna?
sorry,
Is this Imp Midna?
I think she might start as Midna. I think she does something kind of like Navi does, where she like starts in one form and essentially transitions to a more human adult form, even though Navi is very tiny.
That'll be a must target.
Might be. I don't know how they're gonna actually do it. I'm not involved on that dev team, so if I'm completely wrong, sorry. I think I remember seeing that somewhere. As for Rinka being Gerudo, I think the problem with that is that while she is strong and doesn't, cover up her abs like the Gerudo tend not to, most of the Gerudo are like 7 feet tall. So I don't know if they would mistake her for them, or mistake. Yeah.
All right. SPNatI. What about you?
Coming from a creator, me, who's made 2 girls, whose main gimmick is being inexperienced with men and from an all-woman society, I can tell you that it's a very easy fucking gimmick to milk, or I guess, just concept to milk. And if anyone should want to make a Gerudo girl, it will be very easy to write, in my opinion. I know there's one guy who tried making Urbosa, but it didn't really go anywhere. But
Yeah, I remember that. That was
if you
before
want to
the
do
Discord.
that, or make like if you're more old school, Naboru, then you totally should, because I think that can go really far. Just a more Amazon version of Maya and Jura, I guess, with slightly more familiarity with men, but they could definitely bond over their confusion and just exposure to men in this game. I mean, right there, you have a perfect reason for them to go. And they'd be plenty familiar with interacting with women, even if there's no men there. So, and it's a great way to focus on the player, because they probably will be the only man there.
Yep.
So that's my pro tip for how to get on the first page.
And he knows. He's done it. He's done it 4 times. As for me, Malin, because cute redhead farm girl. Like, yes, please. I'd like some more. It's a very shallow reason, but it's exactly what I want. Why don't they comment on Rinka obviously being Gerudo? I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess I do now that we've had
She's not.
the 2 people here who have Zelda characters on the roster answer that. So
In my defense, also, Nehru still doesn't target hardly anyone, so I could pursue that. I don't know if she's familiar with the Gerudo, though. She's not really from Hyrule proper.
Just be like, aren't you a little runty for a Gerudo?
True.
Gerudo-let.
What?
A Gerudo-let.
Oh.
Navi would believe it. You all look big to me. I don't know, something like that.
All you big people look the same. Heard you're a racist now, Navi. Okay. Let's see here. Next question is, how does the cast feel about the anonymous feedback poll?
Before it came out, I was honestly really dreading the feedback poll because I thought like it was gonna be merciless, just everyone says your character sucks, and I don't know, that was probably just my brain hyperbolizing.
That didn't happen last time.
Yeah, no, it didn't, and it didn't have a basis in anything other than my paranoia. So, but this time around, up until like the last 3-ish days, everyone's been really, really nice to me and my characters. I got a lot of uh, positive reactions to all of them, especially to Eni. I mean, Sarin is the one. Sarin has no like negative stuff besides just shrink the head a bit and the nose. And I mean, the other ones really don't have too much negative to say about them. So I was very happy to be reading that. But I suppose my problem is kind of related to what I said in the second question about feedback, is that there wasn't too much specific feedback. A lot of it was, I really like this character and I think they're fun, and a lot of that does help me say, okay, expand on this part. But it would have also been nice to have a few things where they just tacked on at the end, oh, but can you change this thing? Maybe I would have gotten sick of it, and if that had always happened, every single time. But I think it would have been nice because then I would have known, okay, this is how I can make them less bad, besides making them better. I don't know.
All right. Oh, Paul, what about you?
I don't mind it. Like, I guess I'll say overall, my opinions of it are favorable or good. Because while there's a handful of people, even on my 2 girls, that all their feedback amounts to, I haven't played her yet. Those are thankfully few and far between for now, and all the feedback I had from both girls were overall positive. And while I think some of Nehru's feedback was kind of contradictory, someone said her model looked old and needed an update. Someone else said her model was fine. Weird, but
People have different
overall, they
opinions.
raised good points that I probably, in a couple of cases, knew but was trying to suppress. And I'm ultimately happy with the kind of stuff that I was getting back.
All right. SPNatI.
Well, I made the feedback poll, so it's interesting to hear what people have to say. Fair warning, Johan has told us that he's going to go on a rant. But generally, yeah, I think people are a little over paranoid. Most responses are definitely positive, and the negative stuff is usually actionable. There's and what I hope for, if failing those two things, it's at least clever. Like, nobody just says this is shit. But I think I've only deleted one response, and that's just because they said absolutely nothing of substance about any character. All they said was like nice or fantastic or or meh, like one word answers for literally all of them. So I just deleted that because it's just needless bloat that says nothing at all. If they said it for just one character, then and left the response at only one character saying anything, I probably would have let it go. But just clogging the entire thing up like that, I deleted it. Other than that, like, yeah, I love the opportunity for people to just let their opinions go wild and just say and just get off whatever's on their chest and not have to worry about it's anonymous, so not having to worry about maintaining relationships or anything like that, which is sort of the whole point of why it's anonymous. And also just reaching out to the general player base. That's why I made it in the first place. It can be easy to, like, you hear how some of us like barely even play the game anymore because we have to spend so much time developing characters for it, and you can kind of lose sight sometimes of how it is to actually play the game. So you really want the feedback from the people who are actually playing it the most, and seeing what they have, or seeing what they have to say. So overall, I think it's been pretty good. It's been running about as long as the last one did, and it's got about as many responses. So I'll probably let it go for a little bit longer. But overall, I'm pleased with how it turned out, or is turning out. I don't think you can expect anything crazy informative from most responses, because again, this is not like, there's a lot of characters to respond to. So either they go into detail for one, or they'll probably just say a couple little things about everyone. Like, it's just like a straw poll, really, to gauge opinion, than I think it is to really get something concrete for you to work with. But it can vary.
All right. So to start things off, I'd say that I'm actually quite happy with at least the feedback that my characters have been getting, relative to how they've been received when the last feedback poll started. I don't think I got like shat on or anything on the last feedback poll, but I do remember that it was. I don't think it was perceived in a way that was as positive as it was this. I feel like this time around, my characters seem to be enjoyed quite a bit more. I feel like people are liking what I'm doing a lot more. I feel like I've made progress, and I'm glad about that. I feel like the feedback polls have also told me, like, I'm not done. Like, we're working on them right now, because like some of the stuff brought up in the feedback poll has given me some good ideas on where to go next, what to do with certain characters. So I'm quite happy with the feedback I've been getting, at least. I've noticed there are 7 main kinds of 8 main kinds of feedback. You've got the jokey joke kind of feedback, where it's like, now I'm not going to say that it's bad. It doesn't provide much in terms of like things the authors can do, but who am I to judge? I've provided it. I provided myself that, like, Felicia. I just posted a YouTube link to Sonic going meow from the live action trailer.
That was you.
Yeah, that was me. Then we got like the first kind of feedback, and this is like the kind of feedback that I personally like the most. It's the feedback that praises a character and says what they'd want, like praises a character quite a bit, then says, but also this is how they could be improved. An example would be from Chiaki. I got this piece of feedback, which was good model, good writing, overall well made, one of my favorites and staples. A couple of her lines repeat when played often. Seems a bit detached from the proceedings sometimes. I know her source material, so I know this is intentional, but could use a little bit more characterization in her generic lines. Less stoic observation of what occurs and other character would say X here, and more of her response, what would Chiaki say here? What does she like or dislike? There's no personal attacks, there's no insults, there's some praise, followed by how they would improve the character. So I think that is what I believe to be the most perfect kind of feedback. There's this character is good, but not for me, which is like also good to hear. You think you like, okay, my work is quality, if not enjoyed by this specific person. From Chiaki, we got I've liked the last couple of art updates. There's something about me that tells me that this character is mostly for Danganronpa fans, but that's okay. If there are characters that she interacts with as well that aren't from Danganronpa, please let me know about those, because I don't know who to play with. We've got, so like, that person is like, Chiaki is quality, if not someone I play often. At least with this example, yeah, I could probably fix that if I went out and expanded her targets to non-Danganronpa characters more. Then we've got some harsh but fair feedback, where I've got this from Rinka. I played a bit with Rinka forever ago, and as an avid fan, I was pretty disappointed. She felt entirely too forward and lewd, which her supports she isn't at all, didn't really feel like her. Also, neither of her models have been particularly great or looked like her. Sorry. Okay. I mean, it's a bit harsh saying, like, there's no praise here. So, like, but it does say, it is their opinion. They haven't insulted me or said that it's terrible. They just pointed out flaws, nothing else. In this particular thing, I think that making Rinka more forward is artistic choice on my part, because when moving her into this setting, you have to kind of think about how she'd work. And she's kind of confident, and she walks around without a shirt on all the time, so that's how I decided to translate it. I do agree that there are definitely lines that are too forward, and I will be getting rid of those as time moves on. So while it is a little discouraging to hear nothing but criticisms, the criticisms do provide some valid insight on how I could improve. So those are the good, the feedback that I think is useful. Then we've got providing nothing. This feedback I got for Rinka is, never played her, please don't kill me, you/Rinka best girl. Okay. Why'd you tell me this?
So this man is now dead, right?
Yeah, I killed him immediately. This feedback quite literally provides me nothing. You've given me nothing on how I can, given me nothing on what makes her good. You've given me nothing on what you think from just glancing at the model. I have put my plate on the table and asked for anything, something, and you lift up the fancy silver thing that they do in the movies, and it's just nothing is there.
The lid?
Yeah. I was just thinking, is there some like fancy term for it?
Probably.
All right, give me a sec. I'm gonna take a sip of water.
I will say they could at least say why they've never picked them. Was there something
Exactly.
that prevented them?
Because that would be useful. Next,
There was a person who said they've never played Revi because her epilogue was called Two Hands, No Mercy. And actually, it kind of made me think, yeah, that sounds a little more intense than her epilogue really is, in terms of, like, she's not, like, torturing you. So, I actually thought, yeah, I should change that, and I'm going to.
Okay, so the
That's
providing
all you
nothing,
need to say.
providing nothing is the neutral feedback. Now we move to the bad feedback. This is what I call complaining in a useless way. This is from Chiaki. I feel like Chiaki was butchered more and more with every update. The first one was the best. You've basically said that she's gotten worse. However, you have not told me what made her worse. You have not told me, is it a dialogue issue? Is it a model issue? Is it a posing issue? You've given me nothing but telling me that you don't like it. You've given me no way to know how to improve it, why you thought the very first version was the best. I have nothing in here but your own gripe. And I wish I could fix them, but you've given me no way to know how.
What about the one where it just said that she smelled like gamer girl feet?
That was from Bagel, and that's the greatest. Below that, or on par with that, we have complaining in a useless way, and you're trying to be funny. This is what we have from Hanako. What we have here is Faken. Looks like bacon, tastes like cardboard. Okay? You're cracking a joke, but you've also given me nothing to know how to improve this character. So, all of the similar problems, but this time you're just trying to be a funny haha man. And then, the absolute worst, most useless, most garbage form of feedback we have. This is from Sayaka, and it's Raptor acts smug despite the fact that this is his only contribution. Cool. Now, there's a lot for me to rant about within this short piece of feedback. Let's start with one thing. First off, this is the character feedback poll. I hope you realize this. This is not the character assassination poll. If you have problems with Raptor, I hope to God that you at least tried to talk to him like a mature human being, because we are supposed to be adults playing this game. I hope you would act like. I'm not saying you have to like him. I'm not saying you have to like everybody or anybody in this community. But if you're going to go out and attack a developer specifically, I hope to God that you at least tried to talk to this person first. Furthermore, I'm not sure what your problems with Raptor are, but I despise the mindset that you should judge a person or their actions or their worth based on their contributions to the game. I've contributed 9 characters. I don't think that my opinion should matter more than someone like Underscore, who has only contributed, 3? I don't think my opinion matters more than Solitaire, who's only contributed 1. I sure as hell don't think my opinion matters. Bagel is way better than me at Kisuke, and his only contribution to the game is Communist model and pose it. The only
And also
person.
Show Tucker.
Okay, fair. I got to the point where I was from listening to people who had contributed less than me. We've got Underscore and Mouse. Anytime I struggle with something like Nkisuke, they're always there telling me how to do it. Their contributions to the game, not as big a number as mine. So, but that doesn't make their opinions worthless. You should not be judging a person's attitude, behavior, worth by what they've contributed to the game. And it's just an attitude that I've seen more than once that irks me to no end. The only people that should have a bigger say in like the development process is the mods. That's it. If you think Raptor is smug, like, okay, whatever, you don't have to like anybody, you don't have to. But the thing that it is only a problem because he's only contributed Sayaka, that is an unhealthy mindset.
I think implicit in that comment is also that they don't think Sayaka's very good. And that's why his one contribution is like not good enough, you know? That's why they're judging by the numbers. But yeah, it's just being a dick. It's feedback on the character, not on the creator.
Okay. And so that is just something that it's such a it's like
oh
10
god,
it's 10 words, and it's just like frustrates me to no end. I'm not an easy man to make upset, but it's like, come on,
I just had
adult.
an idea.
Oh.
SPNatI anonymous feedback poll for creators.
Oh,
This is a
God.
terrible idea.
Is it? 'Cause it seems that like
Little section for
people-
Johan and for Opal and for Dorian and for me and for
the
Namas.
people who are
for
going to
underscore.
the people who are going to shit on creators have already done so in this feedback poll. So that's that. Tangentially related. To everybody who prefers the old Mahir model, why though? It was default face to hell. I made it. If anyone would be biased towards it, it is me. The one currently in game is an objective improvement.
It wasn't default face, it was default hair.
It was default both. Like,
I know what default face is. She didn't have default face.
You're free to enjoy the old model more, but I feel like it's subjectively inferior. Anyway, and my final thoughts on both that and the feedback poll is, despite me complaining about that, this is a community of just regular people. Feel free to ignore what I've said and engage how you want to. If you want to go out and do your epic call out so you can feel better about yourself, go right ahead. If that's what you want to do, then you do that. If you want to insult people rather than provide any sort of useful feedback or anything of substance, by all means be my guest. I can't stop you. I won't put in more energy to stop you than I am right now. That is all I've got to say on that.
All right. I think we've spent about half an hour on this question.
I had a lot to say about like 11 words. Ooh. Okay. Next question. If you had artistic talent, which mod prize would you want to most, or would you want most to win in the art contest? There's currently an art contest going on for the 4-year anniversary. Dorian, why don't you kickstart us?
So I think that the one that I think which prize that you want is totally based on like who you are and what idea you have for it. And just honestly, I have no good ideas for NMAS or Viz's pose. I'm not 100% on even what Andres's is. I'm sure he'd be able to explain it to me better, but I'm still not 100% on what his is besides a thorough character look over. So
I assume that it's basically he will hunt down every single possible bug you could find
yeah,
in a character.
that would be
Any
nice.
typo, grammar issue, broken targets. I assume that.
Um, so that might be nice, especially if I was like just came out with a new character. Well, I did, but I think the thing that I would like the most if I did win would be Pat's one, because what I'd want out of Pat's one is that I'm going to be doing the Eni and Mia dual epilogue with them together, and I'd like that to turn out well because epilogues are a huge draw for the outside player base. So if I could make it so that it was done well and had a lot of replay value and it would get people talking about it, I think that would be just really great for her. So that would be my pick.
All right. Opal, what about you?
I think I'd be between Mappies and Orange Dresses, just because a couple people have asked for Nair epilogues. Unfortunately, Lara Chell doesn't seem like she's getting one because she's already at like 10 megs out of her 11. So yeah, it turns out those images are very intensive, I guess. But for Mappy, although I guess I won't go too much into detail on what I would do with it because that's a different question. But I think probably one of those two would be what I would go for.
All right. SPNatI, what about you?
I don't know. Probably the one where you can make a character franchise independent, just so Maya can be on the front page like she should be.
Just not letting anybody else have a turn. Mom says it's my turn on the phone.
I'm sorry, but that franchise rule exists to stop people from dragging the rest of their franchise mates up, and Jura wouldn't do that. Maya's individual score was good enough to put her on page 1. So yeah, I'm mad. I'm still mad. I will always be mad.
But is that a mod one though?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
that's just a regular prize, not a mod prize.
Oh, I didn't pay that much attention because I didn't care. But I mean, if it's only going to happen for one resort anyway, then it wouldn't matter. I wouldn't bother. What are all the options here?
Viz will implement a feature. Cog will write potentially upwards of 1,000 targeted lines, and Mask will make 500 lines to get you set up on a character. Pat will help you with an epilogue, and Armdress will hunt down bugs.
Well, I don't really want any new features. I don't know. I just like writing. Cog would be good. Bunch of new lines. Have Pitt just absolutely fall in love with Revy. Or really anyone. I don't know. Pitt has Cog has a lot of characters, so I'd like him to spread all those lines out among all those characters. But yeah. That's my answer. I unfortunately do not have artistic talent. Not that I've really tried to hone that, but K just makes me want to die.
I mean, you're a great writer. Why don't you try like doing something for the writing portion of it?
Haven't I written enough fan fiction in SPNatI itself? Now you want me to do even more?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's time I could spend writing lines.
Nevertheless, more writing isn't a bad thing.
So the thing is, you don't necessarily need artistic talent to win the competition. Despite the poorly named Reddit post, it is not just fan art. There is also you can do writing. I think that there have been jokes that interpretive dance is allowed. I'm no artist, but what I do have is good time management skills. So in my free time, I've just been making Fire Emblem Game Boy style pixel art for characters on the roster. My goal is to have 25 by the time the contest is over.
Looking forward to Maya on that.
I'm saving her for last.
Why?
I don't know. It just feels right.
Okay then. Not
I
too many
feel-
entries yet in the contest.
Yeah, there's a little less than a month right now. If I thought a little bit about what I use the prizes on if I won every. The one I think I'd want to win the most would either be NMASP or Visions. NMASP's question, that is a separate question all on its own. So I feel like all of them are useful in their own right. Like, man, thousands of lines from COG just would be such a useful boost because I could just reply to that, and that's free line count. Viz adding a whole new feature would be great. I could like the other ones. I'm absolutely going to be selfish with. But if I won Viz's, I'd be selfless and I'd try to think of something that the community could use. I've heard some people say that some parts of Rinka's epilogue are janky. So if I want Pats, I can use that. So yeah, like there's I'm just gonna try and pander as much as that's that.
You're making Fire Emblem sprites, so you're pandering to about half the dev base.
The dev base, but only COG as a mod. All right, next question is, what's your favorite headcanon for your best SPNatI character? Dorian, why don't you start?
Yeah, so I'm gonna assume my best SPNatI character is gonna be the one that was referred to as Best Girl earlier in this podcast. So,
I mean, does Navi dab at any point?
she does not. That's a good
There you
point.
go. Dabby.
Dabini. Anyway, I have a bunch of small headcanons for Eni. Like in the game, she absolutely hates gingers, but will really say, "Wow, your hair's so pretty" if you're a brunette. So she loves brunettes. She I fanoned that Eni, the real one, had like a love of idol music, and so the other one just kind of had to listen to it and is kind of like is now sort of into it because of how much she was subjected to. So I have like a bunch of small headcanons that I've baked in there, nothing really big, and I never tried to headcanon why she's not in jail right now because I thought that was just she's just parole something. I don't know. Not necessary.
Because she's cute.
Who cares? She got out for cuteness. That's so yeah. That's basically the headcanons I have for Edie that I could think of.
All right. Oh, Paul, what about you?
I don't really. Oh, geez, hang on.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. I don't really have a ton of headcanons, I don't think. I would assume my best girl is probably the one that's currently not even on the roster, technically. But, I guess I just kind of like the idea that she's ostensibly supposed to be here, like, quote unquote, undercover, but being the absolute worst undercover agent ever. The point where everyone can just kind of tell she's a princess right off the bat. And she's like trying to purge darkness or evil or whatever, and lo and behold, isn't, because she just gets caught up in the game and actually ends up enjoying herself when she wasn't supposed to. From there, I kind of like the idea that she kind of pre-planned the whole thing, and most of her reactions in game are kind of just like her playing it up.
All right. What's your favorite headcanon for your best?
Who's my best SPNatI character?
I'd say Ryuko is my favorite because it's 3 in 1 and they're all in character.
Does everyone agree there?
I mean, you're one of those creators who, if someone said any of your characters was your best character, I'd be like, yeah, I can agree to that. But I don't know, Jura is my personal favorite. Maybe Revi next.
Who would you say is your best character spin on? Maya?
Well, May is my favorite. I don't know if I did the best job with her. I don't know. I feel like I'm very. I feel like I'm critical of most of the lines I write. So hard to pick that. Like people say, like, "Oh, you did a good job in Ryuko," but I look at it and I'm just like, well, I don't know. Maybe I could have done that better. I don't know. Uh, like how I could have improved necessarily, but I don't know. Well, that's a vote for Ryuko, for Jura, for Revi, and I guess for Maya. So I don't know. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I had canoned for Maya and Jura kind of go hand in hand because I needed to keep them internally consistent. And there is a lot of stuff there, like them being shaved. I just made that up. I made that up because I don't know, they're obsessed with being clean and sleek and beautiful, and they wear tight clothing. So it just kind of made sense to me, and also I liked it. With Revi and Ryuko, kind of I kind of stuck a little closer to canon. I was afraid to sort of make those jumps because people knew those characters better. So I didn't want to like have anything in there that was actually like contradicted, and I just didn't remember. You know.
Okay.
Uh. I know one person complained that I got more complaints for like canon stuff in with Ryuko because like people know kill more. And one person complained that she was shaved, which originally I actually was going to give her some pubic hair, but other people actually said that she's probably shaved because we would be able to see it because of how skimpy Senketsu is. So I actually made that decision to shave her, and then she's very embarrassed about that because it's not very common in Japan. um, so that's a bit of headcanon, but which I was totally fine with shaving her. I was okay with that, but I originally wasn't going to do it. So I guess that has the funniest circumstances. So I'll go with that one.
All right.
It's a headcanon I didn't want.
For me, I'm not sure what my best character is. I feel it's Kamina, but I'm sure that several other people would say otherwise.
If he had a vagina, then yes, he would be.
So I don't know. I can't really feel like I made too many head canons with him. I guess I'm not really much of a head canon. Straight up ignoring things that were confirmed by the authors or the writers in interviews, where they said like Kamina actually doubts himself a lot. Like I feel like with a character like him, where it's like this super cheerful dude who's always friendly and optimistic is secretly sad. I feel like it's overdone and boring. So I've headcanoned that away. Because it's quite frankly it's just boring to me. And that's not what Kamina should be. So that's my answer. All right. Next question is, what is your hypothesis for why we hardly have anyone making mainstream waifus for the game, and most of the ones that have been made in the past being essentially unupdated for ages, like Samus and the Overwatch girls?
Well, someone specifically complained about this on 4chan, as they are wont to do. But I'll wait my turn.
So I think this is kind of the golden question for the month, at least. We always come across these types of big idealistic questions when it comes to this game, and I don't know. One thing is kind of to think about: are there any creators who have like one character in the game who's like from a super popular source and another character in the game who is not, and they only update the character who's unpopular? Because I think otherwise,
Me.
yeah, but Ryuko is kind of brand new. I wouldn't exactly say whether or not.
She's not the focus for the moment.
Yeah, she isn't the focus, but she just got added. She's like, she's only been through one resort. Give the girl some time. But otherwise, it all seems circumstantial. I would think. Why have Samus and the Overwatch girls, not been updated? Well, that's just because their creator left. We have a bunch of, incompletes and offlines that are non, popular characters that just their creators aren't here right now, and so they didn't get updated. Yeah, a couple of them are popular, but at the same time, some of them didn't. I don't know. And of course, there's always the obvious reasoning of, we will only make, really good characters when they're passion projects for characters you really love. If you really want to see a character in the game, make them yourself. But I don't know. That seems like too simple and idealistic of an answer. Like, that's never what goes on in someone's head. I think when they make their characters, like, I don't know, some of this just seems too fanciful and just thinking about it too hard. It just seems more circumstantial than anything to me.
All right. Opal?
I think I'd kind of peg it as a sort of effort thing. Like, I don't know how to. Because kind of like you think a player who hasn't made a character before, who doesn't, isn't even aware of the Discord, I'll say, who sees the game and says, "Oh, hey, that would be really cool if so and so was in it." The first video game character that maybe comes to mind, or what have you. And if it's as simple as just typing their name into a suggestion bar, oh, sure, I'm absolutely willing to do that. But then takes a little more effort if you say, oh, well, okay, well, I guess I'll learn this new program, try to make a model for him. And then you say, oh, well, okay, I guess I'll write 500 lines for that character. Suddenly it's a lot more work than just a passing interest. And at that point, as someone sort of gets down to the nitty gritty and decides to put in that much effort, they'll probably start looking for characters that are closer to their heart and that they personally favor more than the one they just had a cursory interest in. If that all makes sense.
Yeah, I'd say it does. Okay. SPNatI, what about you?
Well, as I said, somebody asked this exact question on 4chan. So how about I read aloud some of the responses to that people said. One person said, because some people's taste is more advanced than whatever has the most pages of shitty, low-quality fan art on Pahil. Is that how you say it?
I
Pahil?
think so.
Anyway, another person said, because only autists with literally who waifus are willing to put the effort of making a character.
Oh shit, that me.
One person says, nobody wants to be the person who made the big wanted waifu character and then fuck it up.
Oh, I think that was me.
Yeah, those characters have a lot of demand, so making them is a rather daunting task. Yeah, I know it was you, Johan, because of the way it's written.
Wow, am I that readable?
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, you also replied talking about the Rinka model.
Oh, okay.
A lot of one person said it's because they're all normie core waifus, and anyone who likes them doesn't usually have the attention span to finish them. There have been multiple attempts at all those, because they listed a bunch of characters that are popular, but nobody ever actually finishes them. A lot of big names were in the game at first, but as the GitLab repository reached its data limit and the bar got raised ever higher, they were culled for being comparatively low quality, and no one wants to bring them back up to speed. One person said, you basically answered your own question. It's because people who make who they want to make, and what is the incentive to make popular waifus if they don't care about making them? So, what do you think about all those answers?
Well, I mean, my answer's in there, so I think that nobody wants to be the person like a big demand character. You don't want to be the one who like makes that and then has to deal with the fallout if you fail.
That answer actually struck a chord with me because right around the time I finished Maya, finished in quotes, but I got her into the main roster. I was actually considering making Misato at one point because I like Evangelion and she's pretty much a great choice from that series to put in there. But I was intimidated because I didn't think I really had the skills to pull that off since people are really serious about their Evangelion knowledge, you know? So I think that kind of scared me at first. And then Black just made her anyway, so I didn't really have the chance for that.
Yeah, I do also think that too the whole popular waifu element is that there is kind of this idea that a lot of what they're characterizing them is from their porn, just like the specific characters that usually come to mind for me.
Samus. You can say Samus,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, it's
Samus,
Samus.
2B, Yoko, and Widowmaker are the ones that come to mind because I thoroughly believe that those four characters would have zero game, or at least very minimal. They would all be very stoic. They wouldn't have to say anything. They wouldn't, all of a sudden be like, "Oh my gosh, Mister, you have the greatest penis of all time." They would never. They wouldn't say that if they were written correctly.
Would someone like to describe Widowmaker's character?
Purple.
Has a gun.
Cold,
Mean.
dark,
French.
mean, French.
Widow.
Enjoys killing people. Has no heart. Blush. So you can't make her blush.
But
She can't react to things because her heartbeat is so low that she can't really get too excited about things. Just none of these characters would be fun to play against. We would just run into that thing where everyone says, yeah, this character doesn't want to be here. And that's one of the biggest killers of characters for a lot of people.
All right. Anybody else got anything to say, or should we move on to?
I didn't really give my own answer, which I think definitely incorporates a lot of the answers from that. It's also just because, those mainstream waifus, I don't think they really inspire the kind of passion that someone has for like their own like waifu that no one's ever heard of. Like, you think about it, when the porn is what comprises most of their appeal. And if you're starting from a position of I just like this character mostly for the porn, you're going to start writing them and you're going to very quickly run out of things to say to the other characters because the only thing you're interested in is them flirting with you when you're masturbating or when they're masturbating. So everything else is boring. Kisake is a learning curve that's a pain in the ass. So that gets boring because you just want to see them naked already and you have to go through all their clothes. And at a certain point, you're going to get bored, and then you can just look up other porn of them. And there's so much of it for something like Widowmaker that you're never even going to see it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have pretty much seen every picture of Maya that has ever existed.
I even went to Japanese websites to find more for you.
Yeah, and now I've seen all of them. So, like, that you don't have that drive to get that character out and make other people appreciate them, and also create more porn of them, because it's all there for you. You don't, like, Widowmaker doesn't need, you don't need SPNatI to enjoy Widowmaker, or at least jack off to her. And she certainly doesn't really have anything to say. You know, like, that's the only thing that really separates this. It's what makes this game work. Nobody would play this game if it was just Kisuke model stripping, because even something as good as Amalia, you can find porn that's so much better drawn elsewhere. So you need that dialogue to make it last as long as it has. You know? You need that actual depth of character to make people stick around. And a lot of those normie waifus just don't have it. And you're gonna get bored with it. And what's the incentive if you don't need that to get off to them?
Where's your motivation?
Yeah, people are gonna get bored with it and just fuck it. There's a million more source filmmaker webms of Diva taking it in the ass. I don't need SPNatI. You know?
I guess the only thing I might add would be that a smaller contributing factor might be I don't know what to call it, maybe call it like something like the somebody syndrome, where you're like, oh, I don't really need to do it. Somebody will probably take care of it, I'm sure.
Before putting Maya in the game, I don't think I had discussed Van Dred with one other person. It was just something that I watched by myself, and I liked it, and I never saw anyone talk about it, ever.
Come to think of it, you can still check I think it was my first post on the subreddit where I was specifically going to try to tackle a character that was off of everyone's radar.
All right. Next question is, if you won NMASP's art contest prize, who would you use it on?
Videl.
You know, funny. Basically,
Save her.
actually, yeah, that is what I would do. Is I don't really have much of a use for it, because writing the dialogue is kind of my favorite part of all of this. You know, definitely more than posing, at least for the most part. So just kind of as soon as the mods decide what the new voting or whatever criteria is going to be, since we kind of don't know what it is. Like, we kind of do, but we kind of don't. Um, as soon as they come out with that list, it's like, okay, these characters are still kind of good and need to be saved. So, just sick NMASP on him. I don't know if he'll allow it to be like split up so you can just add 250, like, two dying characters. But other than that, yeah.
Gay spaghetti chef.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You have a chance to save or make any character you want. Why would you do that? For the lulz?
No, it'd be Videl. She doesn't deserve to die.
Yeah, I'd pick Videl probably. I don't even play Videl, but if people like her, why not save her? Her art's good. She's cute. I like the pigtails.
All right. Opal?
I guess mine has a tiny bit of a backstory, because my list of someday characters is rapidly shrinking as I'm realizing how much of a time sink dialogue really is. So I think I would probably use it on Loot, the Fire Emblem girl, who's, I promise, not just another fucking Fire Emblem. But well, she might be, I don't know. But I would do that because Cog, to quote unquote enlist me for La Rochelle, he offered to help me make loot if I was so inclined afterward. And honestly, I'm kind of not anymore. So I somehow doubt if she'll get made, but with the prize, maybe it'd be enough. I don't know.
All right. And SPNatI on is Videl?
Yes. Videl is cute.
I'd use it for a brand new character. I would force NMASP to play Xenoblade Chronicles X and work on a character from that with me.
Don't you mean Xenoblade 2?
No, I don't. I mean, the farthest from that is what you could imagine.
Rex?
No.
Shulk. And then he just
Shulk's-
says, I'm really feeling it. 500 different ways of saying, now I'm really feeling it.
I'm really
Man,
feeling it.
Vocal
Now-
man, really feeling it.
We've got a good rhythm going.
No,
Backslash.
I'd probably enlist him to, I don't know, either Celica or Mia from Xenoblade X would be my pick.
What are those characters like?
Mia is the character who is really okay. So Xenoblade Chronicles X I guess at this point we're pretty much done with the podcast. So if you just want to listen to me talk about Xenoblade X characters for a bit, this is that.
I mean, who doesn't?
So Mia is okay. So
Can you keep it within an hour?
Yes, it's only 2 characters. Xenoblade Chronicles X starts off with the Earth being destroyed. The survivors all go off on different ships. The one that we're following, the White Whale, crash lands on an alien planet called Mira. The people are looking for part of the ship gets lost in the crash landing, and it's called the Life Core. It contains spoilers, and so the humans are looking for the Lifehold Core. The group that crash lands on the planet create a government system called Blade. Blade does a couple things. They go out, they hunt the aliens, they look for Lifehold's core pieces, they survey the land.
You know, I asked you about the characters, not about the plot.
Well, I have to explain what Blade was. Nia is a second. Nia is
I
a.
asked you to keep this within an hour.
It is. Don't worry. Mia is a character who wants to be a Blade, but she's kind of an idiot, and but she's really peppy and stuff, and she treats the player like a teacher, and I feel like that is a thing. Well, probably wouldn't want to incorporate that specific aspect of it, but she's basically like a little bit dumb, but also good-hearted. And she's a soldier, so she is athletic, and she's kind of NMAS bait in that regard. Probably the most NMAS bait in the game.
She's Asian.
No.
That's what Namas bait is.
Yes, as we all know, Marinette. Oh God, actually, Marinette is probably Asian. Oh yeah, huh? How about that? Let me post a picture of Mia. That's her. She kind of ditzy, good
Are you
heart.
gonna edit that in?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
And then there's like Celica, and she's like an alien who she like recently escaped from like a prison from the other alien race that crash landed on Mira, and the alien race is what ended up destroying Earth. She breaks free from the prison, and she joins Blade in order to get stronger to protect herself and her friends. I feel like either of those 2 characters could be good. I feel like Mia would be the one I'd lean toward most. That would be my answer for if I won that.
Do you have models for these characters?
I do. I'm constantly working on, and I need to update the Mia model I have now. Let me search for them. The picture I have that has the model is outdated because I recently updated the Elma model. Let's see here, where's my work folder? There it is. It's a bit outdated, but I do have models for them. They need some work now that I have more.
All right.
So yeah, that's who I would pick if I win. Okay, well, thanks for being on, guys.
No problem.
What about the
Happy
final
to.
question?
Oh, right. What are you most excited about for Pokemon Sword and Shield?
I don't know. I haven't followed the Pokemon games for like 2, 3 generations now. Not since like the first Black and White. So I don't know. I guess seeing more cute Pokemon designs, both for Pokemon and for the girls. I guess. I don't know.
I'm excited for giant fluffy sheep.
You would.
All right, and Mass, what about you?
And Masp.
Fuck. God damn it. I was thinking of NMASP. I was like deleting the NMASP art question from the document I keep. I was reading NMASP's name as I was trying to say yours.
No, that's cool. I'd like my made 10 characters roll.
Hey, I mean, I respect NMASP's work a lot as well. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so what else?
I haven't played like, oh god, Opal's gone. He's dead.
I guess that was all he had to say.
Oh fuck. No,
He died as he lived.
he's typing.
Shit, oops.
No, you can rejoin, dude.
He can't hear you.
Well, let me type it out.
That's getting left in.
Hey, he's back.
So, SPNatI, what are you most excited for?
I also have not played Pokemon since like Gen 5. The last game I've played is Black and White 2. The last game I paid for was Black and White 1.
Yar har shurin.
What?
Yar har shurin. Pirate song.
Emulation isn't piracy. It's too easy. But yeah, like I was just turned off from like the presentation and like Gen 6. I'm gonna go full negative Nelly here and I don't think it looks good at all in 3D. All the models are just like they just stand there. There's no personality. Mega Evolution is like, ugh. So what, they're going Super Saiyan now? As if the power creep wasn't bad enough? Plus the Kanto pandering, you know. Did they really need to have Charizard in there? Give me a fucking break. But anyway, Shield Chan is pretty cute. Even with the 2 new girls that came out, Sonya and Nessa.
Mhm.
Shield Chan is still the cute one.
Yep.
I'd give her a hug as she glasses me. So yeah, I haven't played Pokemon in a while, and it just, I don't know. It hasn't appealed to me in a while. I just don't really agree with the sort of the creative decisions that they're making. But I'll stop being negative. The character designs are still cute.
I'm excited for all the new Pokemon. I'm wondering what they're gonna make.
You know the bunny's gonna be firefighting again.
You want to make this a bet right now?
Not really.
Because I'm almost certain it won't.
Will it be pure fire with fighting moves, as in even worse?
Yes, that's what that's what I think is gonna happen.
You know, we know it has double kick.
So did
have
Nidoran.
So instead of having a overplayed type combination, it'll just be shit because it's pure fire.
And that's why the Johto's the worst.
There's no stab. Into the PU it goes.
I'm excited for the new Pokemon. I really
discover it. Like I'm walking through the top of a route, and all of a sudden this crazy new creature that I've never seen before comes on. Like, yes, I want to use this dude.
Am I the only one who likes random encounters? I don't know why they're walking around in the grass now.
Oh, they have both random encounters and overworld stuff. I like random encounters because it makes it feel like more of a surprise.
See, I don't mind them in Pokemon because you can just buy repels.
Or run.
Yeah, so well that still takes a while, but repels just make it fine because they're cheap.
All right. Okay. Anybody got anything else to say? Then
Not I.
thanks for coming on, guys.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been an
It was nice to finally be on the podcast.
It was nice to finally have you. I think we should do this more often.
Yeah, this is only episode 30,
Yeah.
so barely gotten started.
What was the first episode I hosted?
Like 5.
Here. If it was 5, then next episode would be my first 1-year anniversary as host.
There you go. There you go. How does it feel?
Feels pretty good.
Feels pretty good.
Let's see
Exactly.
what.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was episode 5. That was the one we had to re-record. All right. So thank you guys for coming on. Thanks, SPNatI, for being my co-host, and thank you for listening. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.